Welcome everyone. Delighted to have you all here, to see so many of you here. Just as a reminder again, I will let you know that this event is being recorded. So if you're okay with that, please stay as you are. If not, let us know. And yeah, hopefully that can be of benefit to even more people following this. So yeah, welcome. Fantastic to have you here. Just to give you a bit of a background to what's happening here today. Zoltan and I have had numerous really interesting conversations around the whole mind-body link. So we thought it might be useful to just come together, have a bit of a discussion, share with you a few tips and strategies that you may find useful in order that we can all flourish in the face of uncertainty. Now, whether we are living in uncertain times right now, that may be the case, but arguably also whatever is going on around us at any given point in time, we're always faced with a certain degree of uncertainty. Because I don't know about you, but certainly from a personal perspective, I can't foretell the future. So we don't know quite yet what the future holds. So there's always going to be a degree of uncertainty. So I thought we would just come together and have a bit of a discussion around that. Now, we'd like to share with you some tips and strategies. We may take some questions a little bit further down the line. And whatever we may not have entirely covered, whatever interesting points that may come up before 2 o'clock today. If we haven't covered it, we may well cover it in future sessions, and we'll take it from there. So yes, I have with me Zoltan here. I'd like to introduce you to the fabulous guy he is. He is a musculoskeletal therapist with a wealth of knowledge around the body, the physiology, and has so much experience to share with us. So I'm just so privileged to be working closely with him. So yeah, Zoltan.
Thanks very much, Mats. Hi everyone, and nice to see you all. So what I've noticed with many of my own clients working on bodies is some people have been very active trying to pursue their program of rehab and body development. Others have thought maybe they'll wait until hands-on work is available again. And it's been quite interesting to see who and how they maintain their motivation for staying healthy, staying active, or doing other things. So that really prompted me to think about what someone like Mats could help with there. And just to say, Mats has already helped me, because every time I speak to Mats, he asks me, the question that I need to be asked, but also he doesn't just leave it there. We agree actions, so we're constantly moving forward, and I guess for all of us, taking action is part of the key for moving forward, isn't that?
Yes, absolutely. I would certainly agree with that, Sultan. So taking action, takes us forward, of course. So thank you for your words as well, Zoltan. That's really useful to put things into context. So thank you for that. All right. Well, I think we should just sort of get on with sharing some ideas that we might have about how to live in uncertainty. So would you like to kick off, Sultan, a top tip for you from you?
A top tip from me is I don't know how many of you may remember an ad back in the 80s. It said clunk click, even for the shortest trip. And it was for seatbelts. And it said, even if you're just going down the road for 5 minutes, put your seatbelt on. Clunk click, even for the shortest trip. And for me, what this means is whatever you're doing, whether it's going to be 1 minute, 5 minutes, or longer, clunk click, be sure that you're in the best position to do that thing. So whether it's quickly catching up on emails, or whether it's picking up your guitar for 2 minutes just to have a little noodle, or if you're on a Zoom call, a quick half-hour Zoom call with someone called Mats and Zoltan, make sure that you're that's nice, yes, sitting square on with the screen, that you have something perhaps behind your back, but either ways, you're sitting forward so you're not slumped in the couch. And if you do that with everything, you give it your full attention, then whatever uncertainty there is in the future, you are already doing the thing that you need to be doing in the here and now. That's my tip number one.
Nice. I like that tip number one, Zoltan. And may I just ask a little follow-up on that? So what does that, if you were to allow yourself to slump down, what would that do to your physiology and perhaps your psychology?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. So many of you will have thought about posture. Some of you may know how much a typical head weighs. I will tell you the answer rather than asking everyone to put things in the chat box. It's roughly 5 or 6 kilograms. So imagine if your head is forward, it is like carrying a 5 or 6 kilogram ball around in front of your neck. Okay, so if you're slumped in a couch, your head is forward and all these muscles are going to get tense, constantly hanging on to that 5 or 6 kilograms. If you're seated forward, your head is on top of your spine.
Nice. And of course,
how about you, Matt? Have you got a
yeah,
tip?
well, yeah, I do have more tips. I just wanted to add on that as well, because that posture can really affect our mood as well. So if we ensure that we are more upright, we're going to feel better, just because of the way that the body and mind works. So if we allow ourselves to slump down, it's more akin to a natural position one might adopt if you're feeling low in mood. So just by allowing your body to fall forward, that can then affect your mood. So if you lift that up, you can lift your mood as well.
Absolutely.
So that's the whole body-mind link that we're talking about, isn't it?
It really is. And Matt, I love that, because the title of the session is Flourish in Uncertainty. And so if you know that just by sitting comfortably in front of your screen, you are already doing the thing. You are already consolidating healthy postural patterns without needing to go for an exercise, doing press-ups or anything like that. If you're doing what you're doing properly, then you are already flourishing, whatever the uncertainty in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you today is that regardless of whatever is uncertain about the future, because as we've established, we don't know quite yet what's going to happen there ahead of us. So it's all about focusing on what you have control over. It's about focusing on what you could do right now, because arguably we have a choice. We have a choice of what we decide to think. And therefore, we have a choice of how we ultimately feel and what we ultimately do. Don't know how you feel about that, Zoltan, but we do have a choice of what we think.
Yes, absolutely. And I guess my question on that, Mats, is are there ever times when people perhaps feel that they don't have a choice, even though we know we do, but sometimes it's hard to find that choice, isn't it? And then I have to do this, I have to do that. How can we still feel we have a choice?
Yeah. No, it's a very, very good question, Zoltan, and something that is posed quite a lot to me. And it's not necessarily always straightforward. It's something that we may wish to train ourselves to be able to do. But I think the first step in training yourself to be able to do that is to just stop and pause and just have a little feel of what's going on. And actually, if you do take that moment to pause, you can then choose what happens next. So it's that ability to acknowledge what's going on, take a quick pause, and then go forward.
Why don't we do that right now? Why don't we just all pause for 2 seconds and just feel what's going on in our bodies? Are we breathing in our stomachs? Nice big breath in. Hopefully everyone's feeling relatively relaxed and calm. Wonderful.
I like it. I like it. Absolutely. Yeah. Because quite often we come up with all sorts of things. We make things up, in essence, about what's going on around us and what might happen. Often we go around, in effect, disturbing ourselves or around what's potentially going to happen. But of course, there's no certainty in X happening. There's no certainty in Y happening. It's all in the future. What is a certain degree of certainty around is what you decide to do.
Yeah. Mats, can I offer another tip?
Yes, go for it.
Because it kind of builds on this. So how do you stay motivated with exercise or keeping fit when you don't know when you're next going to be able to go to the gym, when you're next going to be able to go to the swimming pool, when you're next going to be able to play team sports, when you're next going to be able to have some hands-on work from a therapist? And my top tip on this is ban the word wait. To wait, ban it, replace it with another word. So I think Mats already gave us a few there. He said, pause, observe. So if you are waiting somewhere, ban that word. You're pausing, you're observing, and you're preparing. And similarly with your body work, try if you can not to wait until lockdown is over, wait until the bad situation is over, and then I'll start taking care of my body. Try and use another verb, whatever it is. Maybe you're preparing, maybe you're resting, maybe you're relaxing, or maybe you're maintaining, or maybe you are strengthening and you are improving. It doesn't need to be hands-on work. It can be all kinds of things. So I hope that helps. Ban the word wait and use another word instead.
I like it.
Do you like
that? Very good, Sultan. I like that a lot. Yeah. And what about, so you gave some alternatives to prepare or maintain, perhaps. Or you could also just say do, can't you? And actually do the things that you are perhaps planning on doing in the future.
Fantastic. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it may be due to current circumstances and restrictions. It may just be that you're taking very small steps, but taking micro steps is better than just staying where you are.
I think that's right. And Mats, I feel obliged at this point to say that in my own work, over the past year, I've put a lot of thought into how to help people with their bodies over video programs and what people can do for themselves. And I'm afraid to say there has been a difference between the people who have decided, yes, they're going to carry on with their rehab work and they're going to stay motivated with their body work. And then others, and I say this with no judgment, but just so perhaps that you're not alone. Some people have decided they will just wait until the end of lockdown before getting fit. And what happens then is, your body does get deconditioned. Perhaps you put on a few kilograms. That extra weight when you're not doing exercise means that there's extra stress on your lower back. We're getting to see more lower back pain, also neck pain because of posture. So these things do have consequences.
And what do you think, Zoltan, has been the main reason, or one of the main reasons why people have decided to take that course of action?
Well, Mats, this is where I would turn to you. So, if I'm speculating, I think it's easy to feel that if we don't have the optimal situation or even the regular situation for doing something, then we'll just stop doing it until the right time. And I think there is a word for this. It doesn't come to me, but there's a word for waiting to the right time, which may or may not come, and may or may not come soon. And I suspect that's part of it. But Matt, I'd be delighted to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps, and this may not be the case for your particular clients, but a word that comes to mind is procrastination.
Right.
Which can come into play in various situations and circumstances. And I think whether this is related to what's been going on for some of us in terms of waiting for the right moment to do something, I think it normally stems from a certain amount of fear, fear of perhaps things not going the way that you want them to. So therefore, you don't take action and do something about it. It can also be fear of things going extremely well, which can also be quite uncomfortable for people. So it all depends on the context.
Yeah, I love it, Max, and yeah, guilty, and I get it. I get it. So, I think it's right that if you feel well, with my own clients, if you feel well, I really just want hands-on work, and I don't want to be doing exercises. I get it. And I guess then the mindset might be, well, how do I prepare? What can I do, and how can I prepare for when hands-on work resumes? So what you don't want is to be regressing and getting worse over that period. And then, so the kinds of things we've talked about just staying present, adopting the posture you need to adopt for whatever activity is, that at least allows you to have an element of self-maintenance, even as you're preparing for something to return.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. All right. Well, Sultan, shall I bring something else into the mix here? Because I think as we were discussing this and how people might benefit from listening to us talk, is how to ultimately deal with the uncertainty of what's going to happen going forward into the future, and what often comes up for clients when I'm working on a one-to-one basis is that there's a certain element of perhaps self-doubt. There could be more self-belief. There could be more confidence, perhaps. And what people find beneficial to hear is just or really connect with is that just trust in yourself, because you have the ability, you have the skills, you have all the resources available to you, because ultimately and arguably, if you're concerned about what's going to happen, that's likely to have some basis in what's happened before, something you've already overcome, challenges you've already managed to get through. Why? Because it's already in the past. So you're already here and you come through it. So in that respect, you've already, to a great extent, overcome it. So you have all the skills and abilities and resources that's available to you to deal with whatever is uncertain going forward.
Love it. I love it. And there is a theory in body work as well that we are the healers of our own bodies. Now, you can take this conceptually as far as you want to, and it doesn't mean that you're denying Western medicine, but the more you can feel that actually you know, and we know that we have a lot of power over our bodies by what we put in our bodies, how much we move, how much we exercise. So, you know, some of it is just obvious. And as Mats, as you say, the more we feel that power, that self-power, the more confident we will be, and then the more able we will be to move forwards.
Excellent. Excellent. Fantastic.
Can I sneak in another one, Mats? Do you think we've got time for one more?
I think we could do one more. Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know if we've seen any comments in the chat, but do we want to encourage
not as
people?
yet, but by all means, if you have any comments, observations, or questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box, and we'll try and address them as well before 2 o'clock.
Yeah, please do. So my next one really is building on this sense of confidence and this idea of not waiting but rather preparing. Is see if you can come up with a sense of where you want to be by the end of whatever it is, by the end of lockdown, by the end of this situation, by the end of that situation, and have that goal in mind and act as if that will be the end of the situation. So of course, because of uncertainty, things may change. Lockdown may last longer, shorter, it may open up partially, completely, and so on. But if you have in mind that this is where I want to be by the end of it all, then a funny thing happens, Mats. Instead of time being this extremely long thing that we're waiting for to end, suddenly time becomes this opportunity where we can work towards achieving the goal we set ourselves. And we're almost disappointed when that period, that difficult period ends, because we had so much we wanted to achieve in that period. Whether it's you know, body work, self-maintenance, or whatever else it is, learning a musical instrument, learning a language. And so we can, you know, we can compress and expand time depending on the goals we set ourselves.
Wow.
What do you think?
I think that's brilliant, because it's something that I like to ponder on as well, Zoltan, that, you know, time is but a concept, and the perception of time is entirely subjective. You can imagine when you know, you might have been a little bit younger. I have a young daughter, for example, you know, and, you know, connect with that time where the summers seemed endless. But of course, you know, it's the same block of time in the calendar as it is now, but the perception is entirely different. And of course, we can train ourselves to stretch or contract the perception of time to work in our benefit.
Yes, you and I should talk.
Yeah. yes, absolutely. We should indeed. I love it. Excellent. All right, Sultan. So let's have a look if there's any questions in the chat at all. Doesn't seem to be, so great. All right. Would you like to swing in another one, or shall we?
Oh, absolutely, Mats. Yeah? Thank you. Yeah. Yes, I've got more to give.
Yeah, go for it.
It's a very quick one, and for many of you, you may feel, well, Zoltan, that's obvious. I know this anyway. But setting a schedule for the things you want to improve really is really helpful for a number of reasons. One is, when you have a schedule, it takes the burden of decision away from you, right? So you know every day you're going to get up at whatever time, let's say 8:30, leisurely 8:30. You don't need to decide every morning, am I going to get out of bed or not? No, 8:30. Oh, so similarly with exercise, if you do choose to do exercise or whatever else it is, meditation, breath work, whatever, if you have even if it's just 5 minutes allotted in your diary, then that allows you just not to make a decision, you just do it. And can I say, sorry, Mats, to squeeze this in, but for musicians, which is my particular interest, it is magical that you can spend hours in a day practicing, and at the end of the day, you're frustrated that you still haven't mastered a piece. And yet, if you just spend 5 minutes every day for a week working on something, at the end of the week, it's like magic. Oh my goodness, I'm suddenly playing this thing. Because your body's done all the work for you while you've been asleep, just building on that 5 minutes of conscious practice to set the schedule. That's my last tip for you.
Beautiful. That's fantastic, Zoltan. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. It feels like this has gone over in a flash, but we've come towards 2 o'clock now. So I think it's time to just thank everyone for being here. Thank you for your time, taking the time out to listen to Zoltan and myself. Hope you found some use of this. Hopefully some of these tips you may adopt and find beneficial. I think Sultan and I will probably wanted to do more of this. Would you like to say a few words about that, Sultan?
Yes, please do. If you found this useful, and absolutely if you didn't, do pop us a note in the chat box, because that will really help us know what we can do for the future. If you have any suggestions for what you'd find helpful for future tips, that will also inform any collaborative program that we tailor with Mats towards clients, where there'd be value added in working together on the mind and body.
Great. We've got a message from T. Dobson here. Thank you for your time and the useful tips. Thank you for that. Maritza says, thank you, very informative. Fantastic. Obviously, if you have constructive things to say, feel free to do so as well in terms of what we might be able to improve. But thank you very much for that. That's great. Thank you. Great tips and reminders.
Wonderful. Excellent. Hi, Hayley. Nice to see you. Mats, how do people get in touch with us if they do want to after this session?
They can contact you or I directly. My email address is getintouch@matskolbjornsen.com.
Mine is zoltan@adagiohands.com.
Fantastic. All right, great. Well, thank you so much, guys, for being here. Look forward to seeing you next time.